All right. So obviously the NFL draft is going on right now. The first five picks were actually defensive players. That's the second time the first four picks were defensive players, but I believe it's the first time in history the first five picks were defensive players, which is kind of crazy to think about with the history of the draft. But I believe they were all good picks. There were some reaches like the Texans probably should have took Sauce over Derek Stingley, I believe. But outside of that, I think the Giants really hit big with Kayvon Thibodeau.
I agree. I thought Thibodeau should have went a little sooner.
I think also Hutchinson should have went number one, but Trayvon Walker's not bad, but just Hutchinson is just number one talent.
It's better. Plain
Yeah,
and simple.
it's that simple. Like, I mean, Detroit, they're ecstatic, obviously, but I think the Jaguars are going to need to work a lot more on Walker than they would have had with Hutchinson.
Facts.
But I mean, it was 1A, 1B. We knew one of them was going number one.
So are you happy with how the top five went so far or not?
I think, yeah, outside of the Texans, I think they reached a little bit. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like they should have took Sauce, to be honest, because Sauce was the best corner, in my opinion.
maybe.
I mean, Derek Stingley, don't get me wrong, he was great his freshman year, but the past 2 years, battling injuries and COVID, given that, but like still, he went downhill the past 2 years.
Maybe. I like Sauce a lot, but I do believe Stingley will be a better NFL corner.
Fair.
So I think it was a good pick.
That's fair. I'm not saying it was a bad pick. I just think I would have took Sauce over him personally.
It sucks that one of them was going to go to New York, though. So
Yeah, facts. But I mean, the Jets, they got Tyreek Hill and now they got Sauce, and whoever they pick here, who knows? They could be good in a couple of years or so.
huh?
Saying the Jets could be good, not great, but like better than they are in a couple of years or so with the way they're building their team.
Yeah, you heard that?
I thought so. Did he just say that Tyreek Hill was on the Jets?
Is
Yeah,
he
that's
not?
the only thing.
Oh, my bad.
that's the only thing that got me tripped up too. But
You
yeah,
mean they getting Debo Samuels? That's who's
They
gonna be
might,
on-
yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
All
they
right.
might get him. That's not official.
they can have him. Debo will just drop off, just like Josh Allen will next year as well.
Here comes Nick's inner Dolphin fan.
No, it's true. There's proof in the film.
Nick's inner Dolphin fan is coming
There's
out.
proof in the film.
But yeah, no, my bad. I forgot Tyreek's a Dolphin. My bad.
Yeah,
But,
but it's
I
terrible.
mean, I'm just saying, in a couple years or so, the Jets may make a little more progress in their rebuild.
Yeah, they'll be like 4 games, 5-game wins,
Yeah,
5 wins.
at most, I would say 6.
I would say they could be a 7 to 8 win team if they get Debo this year with what they're getting right now, because they have made some offseason moves, right? And the only thing why I don't have them higher, right, is because they are in that tough conference with the Patriots, right, with the Dolphins and the Bills. So unfortunately, for them, they are going to be the lesser of the 4 teams, but overall, I think they're going to be a solid team.
I don't have them at 7 or 8 yet, just because their O line is very bad and they haven't done much to fix that yet.
Right.
So I think they have to work on that more, and their defense also is not good. But they did just pick Garrett Wilson, who, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in the draft.
I don't know, man. Chris Olave, you sleeping on him.
I think Wilson's better than him, personally.
Hey, they both came out of my school, so I'm happy about that. But Chris Olave, for me, I just feel like he's got better hands.
That's fair. They're both great.
They are, for sure.
And if the Jets can get Debo and pair him with Garrett Wilson, that's a scary duo for years to come.
Yeah, for sure.
Y'all sleeping? Who's their current wide receiver? Moore, right?
Elijah, yeah, he's good too.
Yeah, Moore's
good,
very
yeah.
good. It's just
So now they got 3 weapons, possibly, if they get Debo, right?
Mhm. Well, the Debo trade that I saw included the 10th pick, so who knows if it will happen now.
Right, exactly.
And Elijah Moore was going to go to the Niners if they did it.
Right.
So we'll see.
but
But
yeah,
go ahead.
tonight sucks for a Dolphins fan.
Oh yeah, because you got no picks.
Yeah, so I did like the bare minimum first round research, little to none.
I mean, you still got Tyreek though, so you don't need a first round pick.
Yeah, we're two is about win MVP with Tyreek and Waddle and a good head coach, and we'll know how to utilize them.
You know
But-
who's gonna be?
Go ahead.
You know who's gonna be a sleeper team next year though? The way they're picking is gonna be the Giants for sure.
Yeah, their first two picks were great, but I still think they need a lot more receiver help,
Right.
and their O line still needs to develop.
O-line needs to develop, but they just did get a great offensive line member, in Evan Neal, right?
Yeah, he's great, but
Yeah.
rookies tend to struggle.
And their new coach does develop the offensive line pretty quickly, as we have seen, on the Bills, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, like you said, they're wide receivers. So offensive line, we can kind of try to say that's a check, right?
Mhm.
If they develop the way we project them to develop with this coach, right?
Yeah,
Defense. Do they still have Peppers?
I think so, and they got Thibodeau today.
Now they got Thibodeau. Are you serious right now?
Their
that's
defense
gonna be-
it's still bottom of the league, I would say.
Terrible.
Right,
Absolute garbage.
Those two players are so game changers, man. Like those two players.
I mean, they had Jabril last year, and their defense was still second to last, I believe.
I know, but did you watch Thibodeau do the stuff he did at Oregon last year?
Yes, he was great.
Before he got hurt?
He's a great player, but I'm just not sold on the Giants.
I feel like their GM, their new GM is going to make moves happen. Their new coach, is going to be good, hopefully. Got to, just give them a chance. The only thing I'm worried about, like I said, we can cross some of these things out, is the wide receivers. If Slayton and them can stay healthy, that's the thing, right?
And they need Saquon to stay healthy as well.
Right, and that also develops with the offensive line, keeping him healthy, keeping him from getting, back in the field. But Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, we got to see what he does, with a good offensive line. So if he's able to have time,
Speaking
what can happen.
Speaking of him, it was reported that they didn't pick up his fifth-year option. So if he plays bad, he's most likely going to be let go as a free agent.
Right, but at the same time, I can understand your hatred, right? I can understand being biased and all. Being a Cowboys fan, you are not wanting the Giants. But I think let's be honest, your guys' division is pretty awful. All
But
right?
yeah, 100%.
So the NFC East, right, is pretty awful. All you guys got to do is win 9 games. I think the Giants can do that with the squad they're building right now. So
Fair. Do you guys think it was the right move for the Giants to decline Jones's fifth-year option?
right now, yes.
I agree. Saya?
Sorry, one more time. What's the name?
Daniel Jones, do you think it was the right move for the Giants to decline his option?
No.
You don't?
No.
How come?
Who's a better quarterback they can get?
Well, it's not for this year. It's
Right.
if free agency next year.
Yeah, but do they plan on banking on a quarterback then?
I would say, yeah. I think they're riding with him this year, and if he plays bad, then he's gonna be let go.
For sure.
Gio, were you not being dumb? Is that what that was?
No, I can understand why you want to keep him, right? Because you're not guaranteed a good quarterback, right? And Daniel Jones is potentially I would say he's a low tier, mid tier type starter in the NFL, right? If you need a quarterback, all right, we'll pick up Daniel Jones. He's that solid player. But if I'm the Giants, right, I'm rolling the dice. I'm seeing what he produces. If he doesn't produce, right, and our projections go down, we might be one of the worst teams in the NFL, to be honest, because our offense will not, produce. And obviously, we saw what happened last year with an amazing defense with the Steelers, but their offense didn't produce. They still lost games. They're still in the position where they're at.
Are you saying if they don't take a quarterback tonight, that you might be the worst?
No, I'm saying we were like we were okay, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like we'd be worse because we wouldn't have had Big Ben. We have Daniel.
Okay, yeah.
We put Daniel Jones in that position, right?
Yeah.
The projection would be they're one of the worst offenses because they're not going to produce anything if he doesn't do well. So I feel like they'll have the draft next year, right? Where the draft class will be better in quarterback position. And I feel like that they'll be able to draft a better quarterback and hope for the best for the future rather than trying to sign like a Daniel Jones, to an extension if he's playing bad.
Right. We're obviously saying that Daniel Jones might play good where they do re-sign him or franchise tag him. We're not saying that he's definitely a goner, but it's a possibility.
I'm saying if he does play bad, I feel like that's the option they're going to go. They're going to try to draft.
I agree.
But if he plays well, obviously they're going to try to re-sign him.
I agree.
So,
say you got something to say?
Yeah, I could understand it in the fact that they would think he's going to be really bad because they would save that money because he was such a high pick.
Right.
But if he does develop into a better player, then they do have to pay him more than they would have for that 5th-year option.
That's true.
So
it is 1 year though of him playing good compared to 3 or 4 in the league. So I don't think the price would go up that much.
Even then, though, the Giants need their money to try to get some free agents to try excel their rebuild since they've been bad for so long.
No offense to the Giants, but what free agents go in there?
Nick Saya, the tight end.
At the same time, not to prove your point wrong, but Kirk Cousins after he had one great season with the Washington Redskins at that time, named Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
He did get signed that big contract, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously we saw the decline after that with Washington, and then he got signed, with the Vikings. But
yeah, I just feel like it's the right move right now, given with the way Daniel Jones has been playing. They're trying to win now, and if he's not the quarterback, then they shouldn't be keeping him.
Right.
But transferring to the NBA, it's looking like the 76ers will not blow a 3-0 lead. They are up by a lot on the Raptors right now with 3:58 to go. So looking like they're going to close that out, unfortunately for the Raptors. But the fact that the Raptors even forced a game 6 and had a possibility for a game 7 is impressive in itself after being down 3-0.
I agree. I think it's good for Philly. If they did go to game 7, I think Toronto just had too much momentum and they would have smacked them.
I agree.
But Philly winning this game is good for them. Hopefully they'll kind of
– that was my roommate, my bad.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it was Joe or not. So I was But hopefully the momentum of winning this game and closing out the series will kind of get their confidence back up going into the next round. Because they have such a tough matchup. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Who do they play now if they win? They play the Heat. So yeah, that's gonna be a tough matchup for sure. But Gio, you got something to say?
Yeah. This goes into one of my questions I wanted to ask you guys tonight. Last night, Doc Rivers had some words, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I believe it was last night or something like that, when he was talking about in his interview where he was asked a question on when he blew his leads, right? His 3-1 leads all the time. The TNT Tonight crew, right?
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal believed that it's not necessary to have a good coach, right? Coaching doesn't matter in the playoffs, he said. To a certain extent. For me, I feel like it's good for Doc, obviously, to win this series, get it off his chest, especially with all the conversation, all the pressure going on. But for me, I think coaching does matter, but just to a certain extent, not as much as people think it does, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree, because in the playoffs, if you have a LeBron James or an Anthony Davis type superstar who takes over and you don't have to really coach much, then yeah, it doesn't matter that much. But if you have players who are trying to develop, still developing like the Raptors, and Nick Nurse is coaching them like this, then yeah, it matters.
No, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think the development of the players, right? Because how are you going to get to that LeBron James echelon or Shaquille O'Neal type player, right? Where you don't need to really have a coach. But at the same time, we saw 2 superstars go down without a great coach this year, in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant being possibly the greatest player in the NBA and Kyrie being possibly one of the greatest point guards in the NBA.
Yeah, I think coaching definitely matters because if you don't have a coach, you just have players out there running around, passing it,
Right.
doing nothing really. Like you need a coach to draw up plays, substitute. Like if the players can't do that.
But I feel like it's certain scenarios where we can mention, all right, we got the Nets who need a coach. Then we got LeBron James, his whole career, I feel like didn't need a coach other than his first 2 championships. After his first 2 championships with Miami Heat, he doesn't really need a coach. So to a certain extent, I feel like it matters, but I'm curious on what Nick has to say on that.
Coaching does matter. Even when it does come down to having a very good team. There's other very, very good teams in the NBA. And sometimes it will come down to a chess match of who can make the better rotations, who can draw better plays for like big time shots. So I think to an extent, like regular season wise, coaching might not be as important. But when you get to the playoffs where it's the best versus the best every night, it's the biggest factor, I would say.
I agree because you look at the team like the Nets. Why did they go down? Majority of it was coaching and missed free throws and turnovers, which equates to coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that as well. But another point Shaq had last night, right, was that you can't put the blame on Doc Rivers. I feel like those 3-1 leads are not Doc Rivers' fault, when he blew them.
Well, he didn't make the correct adjustments, I would say. That is his mistake.
I feel like when he blew the 3-1 lead against when he was with the Hawks, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did say he was going against that Pistons team, which was crazy. They were the number 1 seed, right? So
what year was this?
Early on in his career, I believe.
So it was when the Pistons were good.
Right, exactly. When they were the 1 seed, I believe it was, with Chauncey and those guys.
Oh yeah.
Possibly. Then you've got the Boston one, right? Or not Boston. Got 2 more with the Clippers, right?
Yeah, Clippers blew a couple.
Right. And I
think the Celtics blew one too.
Celtics did blow one. CP3, I believe, didn't play in those first 2 games when he blew that. So there are circumstances where I believe the players, to a certain extent, they have to finish the series. If you're up 3-1, how, as the players, you do not finish the game?
Yeah, it goes both ways, in my opinion. The players need to show up and finish the game and stop thinking like it's going to be a cruise control and the other team's going to give up, because that's not going to happen. And the coaches have to make the right adjustments. So it goes both ways.
You can say they have to make the right adjustments, right? But it's the execution. What if Doc's saying things, right, on the bench? Hypothetically, obviously, I have no idea. What if he's trying to make the adjustments? The players are not executing to the standard of what Doc's saying, or the complexity of what Doc's trying to do, right?
That's also a very good possibility. But I feel like that could also mean like the team is not buying into Doc.
And then that revolves around the coaching. So really, I feel like it goes both ways, right?
I agree.
But at the same time, you can literally have an argument on one side or the other.
Yep, for sure.
And just keep butting heads about it. But I just thought it was interesting that, Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greats, said that coaching doesn't really matter.
Well, right? I feel like Shaq also said that because he played with such great teammates his whole career. Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, like, of course that duo those 2 duos do not need coaching, bro. All you do is give them the ball and let them go to work.
But at the same time, I feel like I want to see, right? Because we've all seen these amazing players have great coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Shaquille O'Neal, obviously, you had Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson, right? Kobe Bryant, Phil Jackson, and so I feel like, and then you obviously got Spoelstra, right? Out there. So I feel like all these amazing players had great coaches. What if we didn't have that, right? could they still become the player they were without those coaches? And I feel like it would have taken a longer development.
Yep. I don't think they would have became the same that they have.
Right. I don't think they would have had as much success, but
I agree. So you got something to say?
I agree that coaching is everything. Development-wise, I think Kobe would have been the player he was.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
Mama mentality. It's just that simple.
yeah, his work ethic was unmatched.
Yeah.
But I think, like all the other players you named, I think Dwayne Wade, he had potential to be really good. But I think his coaching pushed him to be the superstar he was in the top 3 shooting guard.
Especially in the beginning of his career when he wasn't as great as expected.
Like his first ring in 2006, that's when I feel
When it
like that
started
was
taking
a
off.
lot of coaching.
Yeah.
obviously LeBron James needed Spo as well, because
Yeah.
I don't think he would have had the success he would have in his career without winning those 2 championships with Spoelstra, and Dwayne Wade.
And I mean, the offense that Spo ran with those two, that helped him a ton.
I just want to say, I feel like, yes, Spo was the cause of that, but at the same time, Dwayne Wade and LeBron James might have been the cleanest duo we've ever seen in basketball.
Best of all time.
I would go as far to say, as when they were both in their primes, it could have easily been the best of all time duo.
For sure. But like the mentality they had, like it was just so clean. Everything was so smooth and prepared and like thought out. So
like D-Wade didn't even have to look, and he knew where LeBron was, bro.
Every time. So
I think it also, when it comes down to like duos, I think there's so much ego involved when you have 2 really good players.
Like KD and Kyrie.
Yeah. I think D-Wade was really good for that because he was like, all right, I'll take the back seat to LeBron.
Right.
And I think that really helped that Miami team as well.
That's also why Anthony Davis and LeBron James had great success in their first year, because LeBron said, yeah, I'm taking the back seat. AD, let's go.
Right. And is that why the Nets aren't having – just to switch gears for a second. First off, I want to say, the whole conversation was to get out, respect all coaches, right? Coaches are, main part of the game. Yeah. They should be respected, not, broken down. But moving on, the Nets, is that why Kyrie and Kevin Durant are not working out? Is because they're trying to be co-partners, no one's taking the actual lead and no one's taking the back seat.
I would say that, because if you watched the first round series, it was all Kevin Durant having the ball, and Kyrie wasn't really saying anything. Like, if he wanted to step up, I feel like he needs to speak up. And I don't think they're taking that leadership role seriously.
I feel like that, but they're also deferring to each other. I'm
yeah. Yeah, because when Kyrie got the ball passed into him, like to bring it up the court, he always gave it up to KD.
Right. Because as a leader, there's not a true leader on that squad.
No.
You had LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was the main focal point of that offense, right? Everyone would think LeBron was the leader. Dwayne Wade, backseat, he was the leader of that entire team. LeBron was the focal point of that offense.
Yep.
You saw, and you also saw with many other teams, with Shaq being the focal point, Kobe being taking the back seat. Kyrie and KD are at the same point. No one's taking the back seat and no one's taking the front seat. So,
yeah, I agree.
I'm with that.
Anything else to add on that, Nick?
Okay. So,
I mean, before Nick go, I was just gonna say, when you have Blake Griffin coming in and like being your best player off the bench, you already know that you're gonna be in trouble. No offense to Blake Griffin, he was great in his prime, but now he's not that good.
Also, I just want to defend Blake Griffin. He didn't get that much playing time. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, and LaMarcus Aldridge didn't play 0 minutes every 4 games.
Right.
But go ahead, Saya.
Continue, yeah.
Yeah, that's very valid. I agree with Blake. Should have got playing time, or more playing time. LaMarcus should have got playing time, because why else were they on that team?
Exactly.
But with the Brooklyn Nets situation, I believe what they're trying to do is like a good idea, where they are co-leaders. So I think it was worth a shot for now. but seeing how it works out, they cannot move forward with that.
Yeah, it doesn't work out. It just doesn't. They're both ball dominant players.
Yeah. So like moving on, they have to really talk and like discuss who's going to be 1A and then who's going to be 2. Like,
Right. Like it kind of seems like the situation the Lakers were in this year with Russ and LeBron James. Like who wants
Right.
the ball?
Right. But at the same time, right, we've seen like history, it doesn't lie. There's a focal point and then there's the backseat, right? There's the leader and then there's not the leader. We've seen these co-leaders not work out. And we got 2 of them right now. We got the Kyrie, right? And we got the Kevin Durant, but then we also got the Paul George and we got the Kawhi Leonard, who obviously haven't worked out as well. So there's not a real like leader on those teams. And I also feel like I hope we can come to one day, right? Like Nick is trying to prove that we can have these co-leaders. But right now, history has shown that you need a leader, right? And we haven't actually seen one on either of those teams.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
oh,
But going back to the NFL draft real quick, the 2 receivers were taken. Chris Olave, your boy Gio, went to the Saints. And then Jameson Williams went to the Lions. The Lions traded up to 12 to take Jameson Williams. The Vikings traded back. Jameson Williams was a wide receiver from Alabama, and Chris Olave is a wide receiver from Ohio State. But what do you guys think of those 2 picks? You think those are good picks for both those teams?
You can start first, Nick, if you want to.
So from the Lions standpoint, I guess it's all right.
Well, they needed receivers, but it's just the quarterback situation, I would say.
Yeah, that's just the biggest factor. But I think they could have done better because their offense is very lackluster. But at the same time, this is a very defensive-heavy draft. So I think beefing up the defense right now would have been a better move for them.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. Because their defense was worst in the league.
Yeah. But I really like this. Wait, did Jameis Winston sign back to New Orleans?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I like that because before he got hurt, he was balling. So
And Michael Thomas coming back too.
Yeah, I like the weapons they're getting over there.
I think Jameson Williams was a good pick for the Lions, like offensive wise. But like you said, they need defense bad. Like I feel like they could have got a corner.
Facts.
But I mean, no offense to Williams. He's a great pick, but it's just what they needed, I feel like.
I feel that. Yeah.
Going on the standpoint with the Saints, right? Re-signing Jameis Winston was huge for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
2-year, $28 million. Great contract for him. Congrats to him. To have Chris Olave along with him, along with, you said, Michael Thomas, right? And other great players that they've had last year, show up. It's great for them. I feel like they can be a great team, especially in the NFC, where, obviously the powerhouse is the AFC this year. So it's good for them. On the Lions standpoint, I feel like you guys are, I don't know if it's me, but Jared Goff, he's an all right quarterback, right? He did go to the Super Bowl. He
had more weapons on the Rams than he did on the Lions. He can't take this team to the Super Bowl.
No, I obviously.
And he got carried by his defense. No offense to Jared Goff, but that defense was insane.
And he had Todd Gurley, prime Todd Gurley.
Yeah, who didn't play in the Super Bowl.
But you are saying that their issue is the quarterback position, which for me, I don't believe it's an issue. I feel like Jared Goff is their quarterback, and it should be their quarterback.
Explain to me why they went 2-15 then?
Why? How about you tell me this? Why did Stafford never go anywhere? First year out of Detroit, he went to Super Bowl.
Stafford was great at Detroit. He just couldn't get the help that he needed. I don't think Jared Goff can even take this team to the playoffs.
When did Stafford go to the playoffs? Tell me one. Go ahead.
He went to the playoffs at least 1 or 2 times with them.
Two. Max.
Okay. So he still took them to the playoffs.
Every other year, he has not gone with all the years he's been in the NFL. I'm saying you take Jared Goff off that team, he's a great quarterback.
No.
He was not good on the Rams. He was already off the team. He was mediocre at best.
He was good on the Rams. He was
mediocre. He was mediocre, bro.
I'm telling you right now, you cannot look at last year and say that, he was bad. Obviously, they didn't win any games. I'm telling you right now, it's because of Detroit.
Did you watch the Lions though? Like dude was overthrowing everybody and throwing to the defense every other play.
I'm telling you right now, Stafford never went anywhere. Stafford never went anywhere with Detroit.
Bro, he took him to the playoffs. I don't think Jared Goff has what it takes to take this team.
Well, that was with Megatron, one of the greatest to ever do it.
Okay. They still need a good quarterback to throw him the ball.
I'm telling you right now, Jared Goff is a good quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. You put him on any other team, he's a solid quarterback.
He was on another team and he was mediocre. I'm being nice saying mediocre.
I'm
telling you right now, I'm sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I'm taking Daniel Jones.
You're taking Daniel Jones over Jared Goff?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, bro. I mean, Goff isn't bad, but he is by far one of the, I would say, bottom tier quarterbacks in the league.
I feel like you're discrediting Goff. I feel like Jared Goff deserves more credit than he is due. Obviously, he did not play as well to the standards last year, but after he did go to the Super Bowl, his last year on the Rams, I will tell you this: he was bad. Okay, that was a bad year.
And he had another bad year this year. So is the pattern going to continue?
I feel like you cannot discredit. You can't count last year, is what I'm saying, because it's Detroit.
Bro, it's a season. You have to count it. Like, you've seen quarterbacks on bad teams, and they transform it. Detroit traded for Jared Goff thinking that was going to happen. It did not.
Hello. So, Gio.
Yes.
Matthew Stafford's the best quarterback of all time, then, right?
Not true.
But on a new team, he's 1-0, going to the Super Bowl and winning it.
That's correct.
After he left Detroit, and Detroit don't count, right?
Exactly. Like what?
No, I'm saying Detroit. So in the fact that it does count, it has to count towards your career. I'm saying you cannot credit it towards how bad the quarterback plays or to where they go. Is what I'm saying.
So I get what you're saying with like the Lions being atrociously bad.
Right.
I
could being like on the Jets. They ruined careers.
Like you can say it was also because of his horrific O-line, but he still needs to perform, in my opinion.
As bad as Detroit is, I think you could send him to Tampa Bay, and they're not making the Super Bowl.
No,
they may make the playoffs because of their defense, but they won't go far.
But I feel like you're discrediting Jared Goff way too much. I feel like Detroit's just the landing spot. It's just like going to the Jets. It's just like in the NBA, you're going to the Magic or you're going to Sacramento. You're not going anywhere, no matter how good you play.
Whoa. My boy De'Aaron Fox is phenomenal. I'm not going to let you sit here and slander De'Aaron.
De'Aaron Fox is a monster. Where are they going?
No.
Okay, but you can still,
Domantas Sabonis is a monster. Where are they going?
The team's bad, but that doesn't mean the player's bad.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox still putting up great numbers.
Okay. That obviously basketball is different than football. I feel like it's more a team-oriented sport in football, where you can prove yourself as a singular player in basketball, right? Because it is pretty much just you against the defender, and if you're great, then you're good, right? Yeah. But in football, you do need that offensive line. You do need an okay offensive line. You do need good weapons, obviously. Without the offensive line, he did overthrow it, correct? Multiple times. It's just like saying Daniel Jones or Eli Manning. I feel like Eli Manning, right? Everyone credits him, right, with those two Super Bowls he had. And then they say if he had a better offensive line and later in his career, that he'd have a better career and that he'd have possibly 3 Super Bowls or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. He got one with a bad O-line. So, yeah.
Right. So I feel like you give Jared Goff a good offensive line, they're not going to be as bad as they are. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not going to overthrow the ball as he did. I feel like, yes, he had an off season, 2 off seasons, where counting last year, because you got to count last year because, although he is in Detroit. But the one bad season he had with the Rams, right, coming off of that Super Bowl is undeniable. And I feel like he could have bounced back. He's got to bounce back after that year. That's the only thing I'm saying. And I don't think you can discredit last year.
Well, Cliffhanger Gio's back at it. But before we left, he said he was defending Jared Goff. So keep going, Gio, whatever you were saying.
So I just don't like the discredit you guys are giving Jared Goff. I really believe that he is a good quarterback. I don't believe that he's a great quarterback. Like, don't put him in that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers type, echelon type quarterbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the second tier quarterbacks. I would put him in like more the third tier type quarterbacks, with Ryan Tannehill and those guys.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like Baker Mayfield, Ryan Tannehill. I feel like, he's in that type of category right now. Daniel Jones.
I'd personally put him in the 4th category, but that's just me.
But I would not. I don't want people to say his career was that bad because it's most likely going to end up, him possibly retiring in Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most likely they're not going to move the way people are thinking, most likely they're just not going to move right in the forward direction because they haven't moved anywhere really, especially when they had an amazing quarterback. Like I was trying to explain, in Matthew Stafford, right?
Yeah.
And then the first year he's out of there, he won the Super Bowl. So
I'll let Saya handle this. I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to let Saya give some input.
All right. So for me, Jared Goff is not a top 28 quarterback, I would say. Or I'll give him 25, top 25 quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's in that same tier, as Gio pointed out, Ryan Tannehill on our little intermission. I think they were on similar tiers, but Jared Goff is on the lower end of that same tier.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you put him with Baker Mayfield right now? Because Jared Goff has had success in the playoffs, Baker has not.
Personally, talent-wise, I got Baker over Jared.
But only slightly, right?
Yeah.
Not by too much.
Not by too much.
So they're very close, I would say, in skill level.
The reason I put Baker over Jared, to be honest, is just because Baker has that dog in him. He plays through injuries. Like, he played through a torn labrum.
Right.
But that's just me.
And at the same time, I'm not saying he was a great quarterback. I just don't like the discrediting of his career and who he is as a quarterback. I feel like, since you just said, their issue was being the quarterback position and all, I think there's more pressing matters at hand with Detroit. So,
well, at the same time, I think he was a number 1 or number 2 pick, I believe. So a lot of pressure is going to come with that. So that's why I feel like his expectations were so high coming into the league and why everyone is so disappointed in what he has done.
Right. And we've seen that multiple times with number 1 quarterbacks.
Yep.
But moving forward to a previous number 1 quarterback, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Money, or Johnny Football, right?
Mm-hmm.
Playing with Terrell Owens at 48 years old.
In the fan-controlled football league.
That's correct. What do you guys have to say about that, and what's your thoughts on that?
I like the league. I think it's fun. I haven't really watched the game, but I've seen highlights of it. It looks fun. I think it would be fun to play in, and like for players like Manziel who can't get an NFL job anymore, unfortunately, and Terrell Owens who isn't too old to play in the league, but like it would take a lot of wear and tear on his body. So I feel like this is the best thing for him at his age. But like he still could play in the league, but I just feel like he's a little too old. But I think it's really cool to watch like how these guys who didn't get a chance in that like a great chance in the NFL to succeed can go somewhere else and like still play.
Right.
Now, quick question. Are y'all currently tuned into the draft?
No, I'm watching the Suns game. Why?
Hollywood moving to Arizona.
Hollywood Brown? Bro, what? They traded Hollywood Brown to Arizona?
Mm-hmm.
For who?
What?
It's
For what?
Hollywood Brown and like a third round pick, I think,
Uh-huh.
for the 14th pick, I think, or the 19th. The first, so the Ravens traded for Arizona's first round pick, I think, and they shipped out Hollywood Brown and a third, I think.
I don't understand. That was Lamar Jackson's best wide receiver, and they just gave him up. And Lamar loved that guy, and now he's gonna be mad, I feel like.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Because who's their best wide receiver, you think, now?
I would say it would have to go to Bateman.
Yeah.
Unless they're planning to take a wide receiver with that pick, but like all three wide receivers who are great are gone.
Yeah,
That move doesn't make any sense to me. Like they did not need to move up to 14th unless they had like an insanely good player on their board, which I don't know who they picked.
not even the 14th. This is okay. I pulled up the official trade.
Mm-hmm.
Marquise Brown and the number 100 pick is traded to Arizona for the Cardinals' 23rd pick in the first round this year.
Bro,
That's not
they're gonna get a 23 that
yeah.
is Marquise Brown worthy.
Right. You're not going to.
Like what? I mean, they did take Kyle Hamilton, which is a great pick, but like this trade just it doesn't make any sense.
Not at all.
Because Marquise Brown, speed, bro. They just
Right.
lost so much speed.
And pretty much the only weapon that he likes to throw to. So
Other than Mark Andrews.
right.
I don't understand that. But for the Cardinals standpoint, I think this is a great move. I think it's going to make a disgruntled Kyler Murray very happy now. And I think, they just added more speed to their offense.
Right.
They lost Christian Kirk. They pick up Marquise Brown, and they still have Rondo Moore and D-Hop. Like,
Right.
that's just insane. With Kyler Murray at quarterback.
And Kenyon Drake's still their running back, right?
Yeah. Like, and they still got James Conner.
Yep.
And their defense, bro. Like, their defense.
Hopefully
is
it
not
can stay healthy. For sure.
like, bro, this is like Arizona just made a great move for their sake, but for the Ravens' sake, it makes no sense.
They were so close last year, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
They were one piece, I feel like, away from going to the Super Bowl, possibly, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like they were just that close, but really they just need that one more piece. Nobody really knew what it was. And I feel like Brown could be the piece for sure.
I agree. I think that's a crazy trade by the Ravens. I don't understand it. And the fact that Lamar Jackson's on the last year of his contract, you're kind of already running him out.
And it makes me think that are they why would they do that? It makes zero sense to me. Because they're in a position, they were in a position, at least, to win the AFC North.
Yeah.
Possibly. Because I personally feel like the Bengals run last year was a little lucky.
Yeah.
At some point.
It was definitely skill too, but
Right. It was, but
luck.
at some standpoint, I feel like it was a little luck here and there. As it is with every team. But I feel like they had a great chance to winning that AFC North. Now I feel like that decreased tremendously because they don't have that weapon.
I agree.
Their defense is going to be solid. That defense is going to be solid.
The defense was never their issue though. It was the offense.
Right, but now they just added that safety. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy too. So just adding more pieces, but that like you said, that offense is going to be worse. They're not going to try to rebuild, obviously, because they were in a position to win. But Lamar Jackson, like you said, he's on his last year of his contract. Is he going to leave? I don't quite understand what the move is.
I don't know. But there was another blockbuster trade that just came in. The Titans are planning to trade wide receiver A.J. Brown to the Eagles, according to Schefter.
Wow.
So both teams have to expect like stars.
Unless the Titans re-sign Julio and be like, Julio, you're number one, I guess.
But at the same time, he shouldn't be that number one option just because of his age and the productivity has decreased.
Exactly. And Ryan Tannehill loved A.J. Brown.
Right.
The only reason I feel like they considered trading him and ended up trading him was because of his health issues.
At the same time, what did they get for him, or what would they get for him?
That didn't come out yet. It literally just happened.
Did it happen though, or did you say it's going to happen?
It's planned. They're planning it to do it. It didn't happen yet.
All right. So say it falls through, right, and it happened. I'm not. That Eagles team is going to be different.
Yeah, I mean that just gave him another great receiver for Jalen Hurts. Oh well,
Right.
Not another great. They really. Oh, so the official trade is on the draft right now. It's the Eagles get wide receiver A.J. Brown, and the Titans get the 18th overall pick and a 2022 third round pick.
Sorry, can you repeat that first part again?
Yeah, the Eagles got A.J. Brown, obviously,
Right.
and then the Titans got the 18th pick, which was the Eagles, and they're picking right now, and then the 2022 third round pick as well.
I still don't think that was enough for AJ.
No, for A.J. Brown, no.
Right, no.
I don't understand that trade either. Like, unless they, like I said, the wide receivers are all up the board. Who are you trading up for at this point? And for a player of Brown's caliber, like you didn't have to give up Brown for an 18th pick.
At the same time, go right ahead.
They have to be expecting a star, like to draft a star, like a stud.
Right.
And if it busts, bro, this trade will go down in history as one of the worst.
At the same time, you might be right on the fact that they want Julio, if they do re-sign him, to be that number one option to make him happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only reason why I would see this trade, and I don't think that's a good enough reason. I don't think that there's any positive to re-signing Julio and getting rid of AJ. I feel like you should have kept AJ, possibly had some cap space, try to do something with that cap space, right? Other than Julio and make it work. But unfortunately, they made that trade, and I don't think they're going anywhere this year. I feel bad for Derrick Henry. That's the only one I feel bad for.
Yeah, like I said, the only reason I see them, like they did this trade, even considered it, was just the health issues of A.J. Brown. That's the only reason I could see them like doing this.
Because even the whole Julio thing, how are you gonna like try to re-sign Julio, who's old
and washed? No offense to Julio, but he's washed at this point.
Well, he's still productive enough, I would say, like
but not to be a number one receiver, in my opinion.
Yeah, so that's kind of how like quarterback too, though.
Yeah, but like he loved A.J. Brown. I don't understand. They took the Treylon Burks kid from Arkansas, so they did take a receiver.
Right. I feel like the productivity Ben had with the Steelers last year, Ben Roethlisberger, is the same amount of productivity you're going to have with Julio. You're going to have great games here and there, but that's it. You're not going to have a consistent great player. That's
why I feel like they traded up to take a receiver, but I don't think that Burks will end up being better than A.J. Brown in the future.
And I think it's a big risk
to
trade a young, like,
or a rookie. Like, you never know how they're going to pan out.
Very true.
This guy was very good in college, yeah, but like the college to pros jump is no joke. And we've seen it not pan out in multiple leagues.
Go into that 16th pick though, Washington.
Yeah, that was a good pick.
Dotson, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's huge for them.
I agree.
Who's the quarterback again? Is it Ryan Fitzpatrick still?
No, they traded for Carson Wentz.
Right. So now you got Carson Wentz, where you have health issues, right?
Mhm.
You have the great coach, right? And obviously general manager, because but I really feel like that was a great pickup, but it's interesting to me because they don't have a quarterback.
I would
At
say
least a healthy
Carson
quarterback.
Wentz is a decent quarterback, but I don't know. I don't know how he'll do it in Washington.
Going back, would you put Carson Wentz in that Jared Goff conversation in that same
In
exact
that
tier?
same tier, I would, as
I
of
would
right now.
I would, yeah, right. Just because of health and obviously productivity, you're gonna have one of these great games here and there, like kind of the MVP caliber Carson Wentz, but then you're gonna have the Jared Goff or Ryan Tannehill type games. So
The 17th pick, the Zion Johnson pick for the Chargers, he's a good player, but do you guys think that they should have went somewhere else for the Chargers? Do you think they needed O-line help? I feel like their O-line was already pretty decent.
If not O-line, where would you rather have them draft though?
I feel like they could have used a corner.
I could see that.
Right.
No, you're right on that. I could see them getting the corner.
I
Although they
could,
do have J.C. Jackson.
That's true. They did trade for him. Yeah.
I could see that, but at the same time, like Nick said, where do you want to go? That team is pretty well rounded as it is.
Yeah.
Wherever they saw they needed to add depth is probably the best option for them, and I feel like that was a great pickup as well. So
Yeah. He was definitely one of the best offensive guards in the draft,
sure.
I would say.
For sure.
What's crazy with that Chargers team, like during draft time, is that they're already like so well rounded with young pieces as well, where they really can just be like a little sample here, just see if they can get some breakout stars.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like they were a couple wins away from making the playoffs. They were one win away. They lost the last game.
And Justin Herbert's no joke. So
No.
I think they take that Bengals run.
plus
Over the
wasn't
Bengals.
Joe? Yeah, for sure. I agree with that, but wasn't Joey hurt? Joey Bosa at some point in that season?
I think in some point in the season he was, yeah.
Or like a long duration, like maybe 3 or 4 game stint?
Yeah.
I thought so. So if he played and he was healthy, I feel like they would have won at least one of those games, 1 or 2 of those games. So
I agree. But transferring back to the NBA, the Suns did close out the Pelicans tonight by 6. The Pelicans lost in 6. But the fact that the Pelicans were even able to force 6 just shows you how good this team is going to be in the future.
Facts.
And they even could have won tonight. They just made a couple of mistakes that cost them.
right. And it shows, through experience, right? Glad these kids got experience. One thing is you're saying how great this team is going to be in the future. Right now, as it is, it's going to be great in the future. Zion Williamson is the question mark. I feel like.
See, I've been meaning to say this. I feel like he does not want to play there. That's my thought.
Exactly. Why is he doing 360 dunks? Why is he doing windmill dunks? Why is he going between the legs, throwing these athleticism dunks, on Instagram or wherever he's posting them, and he's not playing in a game? It's like if Ben Simmons, right, was shooting threes and dunking and says, "Sorry, I have a herniated disc, and I'm not playing game 4." It's the exact same thing.
Yeah,
right?
I just don't think he doesn't want to be there. That's my opinion, because like you said, he's scrimmaging 5-on-5. He's doing 360 dunks. He's doing windmills. If you can do all that, you can at least give us 15 minutes.
There's no reason why I feel like he shouldn't have played the previous game or this game as well. Obviously, other than the Heat, right, which has a solid team that they don't need their best player to play. Phoenix Suns do need Devin Booker to play. We've seen that through this series, and they wanted to close that series out tonight because they did not know what was going to happen in Game 7. Obviously, if Game 7 happened, it can go to anybody, and they just want to close this out, especially when they are the 1 seed and they have all the pressure on them in Game 7.
That's why I feel like D-Book decided to come back tonight, because he knew, we need to close this out.
Right. I still don't think he's 100%.
No, I don't either. I think he rushed back because of the fact he saw his team was in the dumps and close to, losing it.
Right. Now he's gonna have 4 to 5 days off, correct?
Yeah.
It's great to see CP3 back at it again. I feel like what is that? Back-to-back great games.
Yeah, he played great.
This is the first time in this series where we've seen back-to-back great games from CP3. He had 33, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. He went 14 for 14 from the field, 100%, which was crazy. Only took 1 3-pointer. And then on the Pelican side, right? Brandon Ingram, highest score, 21 points. CJ McCollum, 16. I feel like that those two guys got to play better, especially. CJ going 1 for 5 from 3, and then Brandon Ingram going 2 for 6 from 3.
I would say you also have to call out Jonas Valanciunas because he was the X factor for them when they did win games, and tonight he only had 10 points.
And he only had 8
rebounds. Yeah.
Right. I feel like Devontae Graham, that is a poor utilized player on that team. I feel like he was a great player, especially on Charlotte. And now, great to see Jose Alvarado, right? Grand Theft Alvarado, doing his thing, putting, getting respect on his name. And then obviously Murphy, he's a great player as well. I feel like Hayes, right, was the player last year everyone saw as the great improvement and like a breakout star. I feel like Alvarado and Murphy can be those next guys for them.
Yeah, I think the Pelicans shouldn't get too down on this because they did bring the best team in the league record-wise to 6 games, and their future is very bright.
Right, for sure.
I agree with that. Jake, you watched the game for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Was Booker in?
He was in, but he didn't play. He was barely getting the ball. They were giving it to CP3. Like, CP3 was doing point guard stuff.
Like, he was 14 for 14, so.
Do you think he's still hurt? Like, just by the way he was moving back and forth, like that hamstring's not actually.
Yeah, he wasn't really moving that much. Okay, I think, like I said, I think he rushed back because he saw his team was, not doing so hot without him.
Yeah, so hopefully. Sorry, go ahead, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, although he did play 32 minutes and shot 12 shots, I feel like they should put him on minutes restriction. Obviously, I feel like they should have done the Steph Curry approach when Steve Kerr did that for Steph. Either have him come off the bench or something like that, play 22 minutes, 25 minutes, something in that range, just so you don't re-aggravate that hamstring.
Yeah, and go ahead and say it before I say what I'm going to say.
Phoenix is hoping Utah and Dallas go the 7th.
For sure.
Yeah, which is tonight, right now, the Mavericks could end up ending the series if they win tonight.
Yeah, so they got to hope they elongate the first game.
Yeah. But I was going to say, go ahead, Gio.
I was just going to say, I believe they're going to extend it just because they're home. So the Jazz
I think the Mavs are going to win just because the way it's been going, the Mavericks have just been imposing their will. That's just me, though, personally.
I agree. I feel you on that.
But I was going to say, going back to the Steph Curry approach where he comes off the bench, you were calling for Steve Kerr do that the entire playoffs. And then last night, he started. But so did Jordan Poole. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that. Like, did you agree with that? Or do you think they should have kept him on the bench?
I feel like it's going to be different, right? Obviously, we saw how close it was when you have those two guys starting. I feel like not the chemistry, because we obviously know the chemistry there, but the chemistry on court, right? I feel like, getting the shots up, who's going to have the ball, who's going to bring the ball up. I feel like Jordan Poole needs to have the ball in his hands for the most part, to get his shot going, dance with it like Jordan Clarkson does. But yeah, it's interesting. I feel like they should try to figure it out earlier than later, because I feel like that was way too close for them last night, where we've seen what happens when Steph comes off the bench or Jordan comes off the bench.
Yeah, that's why I feel like they decided to try that lineup out just to see if it would work out the way they expected it to.
Right.
But you got something to say, Saya?
Job got done. You feel?
Yeah, facts.
So, do you think that lineup was more efficient or not?
I feel like it wasn't as efficient as it could have been because we didn't see much of Jordan Poole.
But at some point, him coming off the bench kind of helps because he's kind of that fresh leg spark.
Yeah, that's why I feel like if they do continue to start Curry, they should bring Poole off the bench just because he doesn't really play with Curry that much. He's usually in or out with Curry on the court.
For sure.
I just think that creates more opportunity for all of them too.
Yeah, and Jordan Poole, like you said, the second unit, like he can literally run it as a point guard.
Right.
Yep.
As well, I feel like him and Gary Payton, the glove number 2, right? Young kid over there. I feel like they can be a great duo on the bench for them. At the same time, they're gonna have some trouble if they go against the Bucks or if they go against Miami in the finals because you're playing with that small ball lineup and Draymond's gonna be your center in that starting lineup. So
yeah, because Jokic, I believe, had like 18 and 20 rebounds last night. And if you let Jokic get that many rebounds compared to the other bigs like on the other teams, that's just where they're hurting without James Wiseman.
Right. And obviously we know what Giannis is inside and we know what Bam can do on the boards as well. So
right, exactly.
And Bam's the best perimeter defender as a big.
Well, Draymond's not really a perimeter guy, but
I'm just saying switchability wise, they can't even hurt them there.
That's true.
For sure. We saw what he did with Trae Young, and that was, amazing to see. So,
and you also saw it was obvious that the Warriors were hunting Nikola Jokic for mismatch. Mismatches all series.
For sure.
And that's because Nikola Jokic can't stay with guys like Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, and the other bigs like Giannis and Bam can.
Right. Speaking about Miami, how they stopped Trae Young, are they able to? Obviously, Steph Curry is unstoppable, but are they able to do that with Steph? Probably try to run the same exact defense where they switch up like they have been and utilize their defense like that.
I would say yes. I mean, Trae plays pretty much the exact same way as Steph, I would say, but he's just not as good as Steph.
Right.
But I think that, they could definitely do that because Steph and Trae are the same. They move off ball like crazy. And Steph has gone in slumps in seasons. So, it's bound. He can definitely have a bad game. So I feel like they could force him to have a couple bad games where they can steal the wins in that series.
What are your thoughts on that, Miami Heat fan?
Miami at 4.
Okay, that's simple.
Unbiased thoughts.
Okay, but in all seriousness, I have Miami winning in 6.
That's fair.
I think the Warriors are. Wait, we're talking about Warriors Heat, right?
Yeah.
I think the Warriors are a very good team. They got some of the best shooters of all time. But you know what they say. Offense wins you games.
Defense wins you championships.
Yep.
Right. And it's bound that Clay's had struggles in past couple, in the series and in the past seasons, when he comes back from injury, he's had struggles. So if he has a bad game and Curry has a bad game, you're setting yourself up for a win.
You got to hope Jordan Poole drops 50 or something.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if I was the Heat, I would be glad to let Jordan Poole beat me out of those 3.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, it's possible Jordan Poole could beat you.
Yeah. Speaking of Gary Payton, like you said, Gio, in the beginning, how they could be a great duo. Gary Payton did hit a bunch of big shots last night in order to help the Warriors get the win. So shout out to him.
For sure.
But Gio, like you said before the podcast started, you wanted Kenny Pickett for the Steelers, and it was just announced that they did get him. So I wanted to see your thoughts on that.
I am extremely enthusiastic and very happy to see that. I believe you were correct in the Liberty quarterback.
Willis.
I feel like he might have had better talent, right? I feel like Pickett's just going to be a better fit for us. Just the way his playing style is, he's in the pocket for the most part, right? And that's who we usually like to play, right? And we did have Ben Roethlisberger for 20 years, and he I would say, kind of plays similar, right? Where he has explosive touchdowns here and there, just like Ben Roethlisberger. And I feel like we're going to be able to utilize him correctly, especially when we have Claypool and Deontay Johnson.
So, you know how they're, skeptical of his hand size. Does that
That's
bother
right.
you at all?
So that's every time I was asked, who do you want for the Steelers? I said Pickett, but the only downfall for him is his hand size. But at the same time, we have seen great quarterbacks with small hands, like a Michael Vick, right?
I was going to bring up Russell Wilson. Like he
Like
had the
Russell
same
Wilson.
exact,
Exactly.
same
I was
exact
about to
concern.
say him, right? Michael Vick, Russell Wilson, those guys who do have small hands. I feel like, they're still a great quarterback. They're still able to throw the ball, right? So
Yeah, it's kind of
just see if the
interesting.
transfer is over. Hopefully he does.
I think you're right. It's definitely a better fit because you guys like pocket quarterbacks.
Right.
Malik Willis is more of a Lamar Jackson type
For sure.
quarterback who likes
Yeah.
to run, get out of the pocket,
Right.
which is why I feel like he's dropping so much. They're skeptical of that, even though they've seen Lamar Jackson translate to the NFL. And I think and hope that Malik Willis will also prove people wrong.
So here's the same thing for me. I feel like it was also the conference as well.
Yeah, that's
I,
true.
I feel like that's why he's also dropping. Obviously, he does have the talent, we believe, right?
Well, you could also say that ACC in football is not that great.
Right. You can say that as well. But I feel like it's just what is it, the American League Conference Liberty's in, something like that?
I think something like that
The
stands for
American?
Atlantic Coast of Atlantic. Oh, Willis. Yeah, I think it
Right,
is
yeah,
the.
Liberty. What Liberty's
Yeah,
in?
I
Is
think
that the
you're
American?
right. The American something. Yeah.
Obviously, I feel like the ACC is better than the American though. So
Yeah.
that's also why, but at the same time, he's a better fit for us just because, like I said, he's a pocket quarterback.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say interesting right now that the Chiefs traded for the Patriots first round pick, so now they're picking 21st. I don't think the Patriots have a first round pick anymore, so we'll see where the Chiefs go. They already put their pick in, but Saya, I saw you thinking about some stuff, so I want to hear your thoughts on the whole Kenny Pickett situation.
Yeah, but at the same time, did they say what they traded for?
Not yet, no.
Okay, but with the whole Pickett situation, I think that is a good pick for the Steelers. And like you were saying with the other dude, I don't know his name.
Malik Willis.
Quarterback.
Malik
Yeah,
Willis.
Willis.
I think the reason he's falling off so much, like you said, Lamar has talent in the NFL. But where has Lamar gone being a mobile quarterback that's scrambling around?
Right.
That's true.
Same
Before we
thing
keep
with-
going, though, I would like to say the trade just did come through. It was the 21st overall pick, so the Patriots do still pick. They picked the 29th, and they also get the 2022 third and fourth round picks from the Chiefs.
Jeez.
Right. So that's a lot.
But keep going about Malik Willis.
You know, mobile quarterbacks can only get you so far, I truly believe. Because
Sure.
if you have a sorry.
Well, I feel like Malik Willis can throw it better than Lamar could coming out of college.
At the same time, though, having someone, unless you got receivers like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I feel like you need a quarterback that can just open up the field and make those safeties drop back. So quarterbacks like Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, that's about it. With massive cannons.
Right.
I think they open up the field and make the safeties drop back more, kind of opening up short routes and like little drives, run game,
Yeah. But I feel like he did throw deep in college a lot, but from the college to pros jump, like I said earlier, is very hard.
It's very hard. At the same time, I just want to add, I know you don't like the guy, Josh Allen.
I was about to say the same thing.
Mobile.
Yeah. Also, you forgot Aaron Rodgers. He is a cannon too.
For sure. He's a cannon, but they also are both mobile quarterbacks in their own respect. But the mobility quarterback, correct? Patrick Mahomes, the guys you guys just mentioned, they're more horizontal, right? Runners. And they'll try to throw it, whereas Lamar Jackson is vertical, right? So is Willis, and Michael Vick. Those guys are all running back quarterbacks, where I don't think they equivalent as to the mobile quarterbacks we were just talking about. And that's why it doesn't work out so well, and that's why I also feel like he's dropping.
I feel like he will drop to the second round at this rate because the back end teams don't need a quarterback other than
Right.
the Steelers, and the Steelers already took one. So unless he
Could-
goes
could-
to the Lions where they pick him to like be behind Jared Goff, that's the only way I can see him going in the first round in like 32nd, like Lamar did. But outside of that, I think he falls to the second round right now.
Where do you want to see him go?
I honestly, I thought Kenny Pickett was going to go to the Carolina, and then Willis was going to go to the Steelers. I thought I thought that would have been a good fit, but now I don't really know at this point. Like, I don't know. It depends on the system. Who's best fit for a mobile quarterback? Like system wise, I don't see anybody other than the Ravens.
Right, exactly. I would love to see them pick him up just because we've seen the health of Lamar Jackson be questionable, correct?
Yeah.
So you're able to because last year it didn't work out because they had too many different kinds of quarterbacks, right? Too many different like playing styles. If you have the same system with two quarterbacks, you can just go into it seamlessly without trying to change up the game plan. So
Yeah, I agree. But the Chiefs used that pick to pick Trent McDuffie, cornerback from Washington. So I think that's a really good pick for them. Their defense was a downfall last year, especially corners. So I think that's a great pick. He was the best corner available.
I like it as well. Locking up Stephon.
Gio, you got something to say?
I would love to see Green Bay, right? Try to pick up Daxton Hill.
Is he a receiver?
No, he's a safety.
You see, for Green Bay, I don't see him going. If they go anywhere other than wide receiver, in my opinion, they are crazy. They have no weapons at wide receiver after trading Devontae Adams.
Right. And Christian Watson could be that guy. He was a great wide receiver for North Dakota State.
Unfortunately, they did pick so deep in the first round where all the good wide receivers were gone.
Right, but at the same time, I feel like their defense is also questionable. At the same time, I feel like you can put anyone with Aaron Rodgers and they'll kind of produce.
Yeah.
Jackson Hill is a great safety. I feel like someone obviously should pick him up, soon.
I just feel like they need to go receiver because not only did they lose Devontae Adams, but they also lost Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Nice.
For sure.
So I think it's about to happen right now. So we'll see who they pick. But I if they go anywhere other than wide receiver, I think it was a bad move personally. Oh, well, they took Quay Walker, the inside linebacker from Georgia.
That's also not a bad pick, but
That's not a bad pick, no. Did you hear, Seth?
The linebacker?
Yeah.
I think it's a good pick. I think it's
I do
all right.
too. But I feel like it's not a bad pick, but I just think if I'm the Packers, what do we need the most? It's receivers.
That's their biggest weakness right now.
Yeah. And so, like, I just don't understand who they expect Rodgers to throw to. Other than Lazard. Other than Lazard.
Right.
They're trading for Stephon Diggs.
You wish. But the
They
Bills just
honestly
traded.
could. That's a great landing spot for them.
The
But
Ravens just traded their 23rd pick to the Bills.
What do you want as a Cowboys fan? I feel like defensively, going along with Diggs, right? I feel like Jackson Hill would be a great fit on that defense.
I think I want the best player available, and if it's a defensive player, so be it.
Right.
I think we really need. I'm not really worried about our safeties. Our safeties are very good. J-Ron Curse is not. That wasn't our downfall last year. Our downfall last year was our slot cornerback. Anthony Brown was one of the worst slot cornerbacks in the league, and so I think we need to go slot corner, or we go O-line.
I could see that for sure. Yeah, Tyler Smith would be a great offensive tackle for you guys. So,
because we did lose Lael Collins, we unfortunately had to cut him for cap space purposes.
Miami don't have a pick till the third round, so
Cowboys got four fifth-round picks, so we're living large.
Yes, sir.
I guess we'll see what happens though.
Oh, the Bills traded their 25th pick Oh, they traded up to 23rd, and Baltimore went to 25th.
Yep,
I don't know why. I guess they really have a player they like.
have to.
But that's pretty much it. Gio, you got a segment?
I think we're just gonna call it for this week. Obviously sneaker news is out, but I didn't.
But before we wrap up, I was just gonna say the Bills and Ravens trade was the Bills got the 23rd pick, which they used on a cornerback from Florida, Khair Elam, and then the Ravens got the 25th pick and the 130th pick. So that was the specifics of that trade, and that's pretty much it. All we have for today. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And see y'all next week.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.
Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for coming. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.